Hi, I'm Tim Williams, lead attorney here at the firm. What I'd like to do in this video segment is talk about some of the injuries a person can have when they're hit from behind in a case, particularly involving the neck. To illustrate, we have the benefit of this model here to my right. As you can see, we're looking right now at the entire spine, so from neck all the way to tailbone. The neck's up here, the head would be on top, we just don't have that visualized, but you can see it over here in the little human body. And then going all the way down, and here's the tailbone down below. So we're literally looking at this segment of the body in this view. Now what happens, let me first focus on the neck. So we've zoomed in now to the neck, and we can rotate that over to the side. You can see it as a fairly complex series of bones that are connected with the discs in between. In addition, not only do we have the bones, but we have a series of muscles and ligaments and whatnot that's connecting all this stuff together. So it's a fairly tight, even though you have plenty of motion with it, it's a fairly tightly constructed unit. There's a lot going on in the neck, and unfortunately, when you have a lot going on in a body part, a lot can become injured if force is suddenly applied to that body part. So, and I think that's the reason why we see so many neck injuries. I mean, that's one of the primary injuries we deal with here at the firm. In any event, we have the neck there, and I have an animation. We'll just do the cervical. So you see, again, this is the front view of the neck. So this is looking, if you were looking through someone's throat, this is the view you'd see looking directly down to the bones. And you add to that the discs that are in between each level. So now you have your cervical discs, and you have the nerves extending out and away from the spinal cord itself. And those nerves actually go and they innervate or control shoulders, arms, ribs, you name it. As you work your way down, those are the nerves that extend out, not only control, but also sense. So you get your pain response, for example, are going to go through that nerve pathway. And the nerve pathway is all, they're very similar. All go through similar channels and connect back to the spinal cord within the spine itself. So now this is the back. See, all the spinous processes are sticking that way. So that's the back. There's a lot of muscles back here, very few muscles in the front. Almost just about all the muscles are on the sides and the back of the spine. We have the spinal cord. You see that big yellow bundle of nerves. That's a spinal cord. And then we have at each level nerves are coming off the spinal cord, and those are innervating the various levels of your body going down. So suddenly force is applied to the front. You can see an impact, right? So force is applied to the front. That can be you're in a car accident and you strike your head against a dash. The airbag blows up into your face. Someone punches you. You fall down and strike your head against a concrete pillar or a tree or the ground. There's various ways that a person can become impacted. This is a frontal impact. These are just some of the injuries that can result from a frontal impact. You can see here, there's a little fracture that appeared on that. So a vertebral fracture is identified. Okay, there's another impact. We saw that. Now suddenly these joints that run along both sides of the spine. Okay, those are called facet joints. Look at them; they're not nice and smooth anymore. Okay, they're out of place. So here in particular, you have a dislocation. Incredibly painful. I mean, that's one of the worst. Not the worst thing, but it's one of the worst things a person can go through. Those vertebral facet joint dislocations are awful because there are a lot of nerves that are centered in and around that area there. So then some other injuries, you can have ligament damage. Again, remember there's a lot of connective tissue in there. It's a very tight set of bodies, all those vertebrae. You have ones that are suddenly moved further than they're designed. You can have ligament damage. It can be a sprain or a partial tear. It can be a full tear, fully torn ligament. Again, there's a lot of nerves in there. None of this is fun. In addition to that, you can have damage to the backside, actually compressing the spinal cord itself, and that can cause all sorts of issues with other areas of your body. For example, you can lose bladder or bowel control. You can lose function in your legs. You can experience pain where otherwise you shouldn't be experiencing pain, like down the legs, or most people are familiar with the term sciatica. That's a pinching of the nerve, but in the low back. But you can have a similar response anywhere that the nerves are being pinched in the spine, particularly if you're involved in the spinal canal itself. So that's a whole bundle of nerves that innervate everything below that area. And then what we didn't see in here, well, so let's just run its course here. What we didn't see is, remember, we add the layers. the discs, okay. Let's go back a little bit. Let's add the discs in. And you can actually have disc damage too. So you get a frontal impact like that. It's going to pull the front part of that disc apart as the neck's going backwards. It's going to press the backside of the disc as the neck is compressing towards the back. There we go. So remember, there's discs in between here. So the neck's going this way. It's going to pull on the front. It's going to push on the back. You can actually damage your discs themselves, either the outside layer, which is called the annulus. You can get a tear, for example, or you can have a frank herniation where you're actually squishing the interior of the disc out into the space it's not supposed to be. So again, none of this is fun. There's also sorts of injuries that can result from just a otherwise seemingly simple frontal impact, and it just varies case by case.
If you've been injured and need help, Dwyer Williams Charkoss Attorneys will get you the settlement you deserve. Experience gets results.